Hi guys, we're going to try and work on a practical project using if statements. So we're going to build a basic loan application app. All right, so it's going to have HTML and JavaScript, maybe some styling and CSS. We'll see, depending on what time permits. So we'll create a new file, and let's call this file loan.html. So we're going to create the HTML file first, loan.html. So that's it, loan.html. Remember the shortcut shift and the exclamation mark gives you this, and you can get all of this for HTML. So let's call this loan application. It's a very just bare basic. So app. Okay, so what we wanted to be able to do first, let's create the form. So we need for people to be able to fill a form and submit something, right? So form, and then in the form we'll have input type equals text. Okay, and then ID, let's give it an ID. In this case the ID will be salary, and then placeholder will be equal to how much do you earn. We just want to get an idea of how much they earn. Do you earn? Okay, that's going to be in the placeholder. So let's just take this up so you can see. So that's the input type, and then we want to have a button type equals submit, and then with an ID of btn, and then we want to have an on-click function, which we'll use in JavaScript. I'll show you in a bit. Check. Actually, we can do that later when we create an actual function. So just close that, and then the button will say submit. Okay, and then that's it with a form. All right, and then we want a place where we can put the answers. So if somebody where we print the results basically, and we can print the results in h1 ID equals answer. h1 ID equals answer, and then h1, and then let's save that. Just to show you what it looks like, let's just run live server so you can see what it looks like right now. So basically this is it. It looks not too deep, but this is how much do you earn, and when you submit, we want you to be able to do something and to calculate if you qualify for the loan or not. All right, so this has no styling or whatsoever. So let's add a JS file. So let's say loan.js. What do we want that to do? So we're going to create a function. We've not spoken about function yet, but this is an idea of how to write function. We'll go into details in subsequent lessons where we talk about functions. But functions, you just say function, and then you give it a name. So function is the first thing you write. That's one way of writing functions, and you give it a name. In this case, I'm naming it check. You can name it anything you want, and then curly brackets, object literal, and then now I can start to write. So functions are basically putting a block of code, so all your code's in one function, and you can call that function, and you would invoke an operation. You would invoke a condition, an action, by calling that function, basically. So you see how it works as we go along. So let's qualify. So let's call, we declared a variable and we call it qualify. Let qualify equals, and to get something from the DOM. So basically, to be able to get this, we want to get salary, which is the input type for how much do you earn. So we want to be able to pull that value. So whatever someone's put in that value, we want to be able to put it in JavaScript. We use something called document.getElement by ID. We have an ID, so basically what we're doing is that we're getting an element by ID. So we use something called getElement by ID, and our ID there was salary. Yeah, so that's what we have here, salary, right? So getElement by ID salary. But we want the value because it's a form, so we're using the dot value part of that. But then we also want to get document dot get element by ID. We want to get the answers, right? So this is the answer as well. So whatever we're going to put here, we still need to get it by ID. So the ID here is answer. So we pull that here as well. So document that get element by ID, and this will be answer. Okay, and then we want to put something inside it. So dot inner HTML or inner text will be equal to, we want to write the text qualify, right? So it will be qualify, not the text, the variable qualify. All right, so what we're trying to say here is that if we get the value of what's in the form, we put it in the variable called qualify, and then we'll print that as an answer in the with anything with the ID answer. So we get the value from here, and then we print it to H1. All right, so we want to use if statements, and this is where it gets interesting, to calculate and see if the person qualifies for the loan or not. So we say if qualify, which is this, right? If qualify, so whatever the person puts in the browser is less than or equal to 3,000, right? What should happen? If that's the case, what should we do? What do you think? Pause and think. What do? We want to be able to say document the get element by ID and put something in the inner HTML. Answer, which is the answer. So in the dot inner HTML will be equal to you do not qualify because it's less than 3,000. You do not qualify for a loan. Okay, so that's what we have there. So that's if that's the case. Else, now we want a statement. If that's the case, we say let x equals to prompt. It means that if it is more than 3,000, how much loan do you want? So Windows.prompt is something you can use to prompt a small box in JavaScript and the browser in the DOM. So how much loan do you want? It's a question, right? And then remember, JavaScript runs from the top to the bottom. So next step will be document dot get element by ID answer. So and in the dot inner HTML, so we need to now say what do we want to put there? So we say congratulations, you qualify for a loan of, now we want to be able to calculate the loan, and then we're concatenating with say plus x, but then multiplied by 5, because we want to give them the loan multiplied by 5 based on how much they earn, right? And we give them a loan by qualified by 5. Okay, so let's see if that's right. So the function, everything must be inside. So this is the entire function, so this is not going to be here, so this is going to be at the end, right? It's because everything is in the function. Okay, so this is our JavaScript. All right, so let's just go through that again. So function check is the function, so we're putting everything in this function. So first step is that we let qualify equals document the get element by ID salary, which is what is here because we gave it an ID of where you salary. Yeah, that's it. Input type equals text, ID salary, and then placeholder is how much do you earn. All right, so we're just pulling this ID and we're bringing it to the variable. So we're storing it. Remember, now this is practical application to using variables in JavaScript. So we're storing that in the variable qualify, and then we also get the element by ID answer, and then we're saying whatever value is here, we're printing it here. All right, if qualify is less than 3,000, document the get element by ID answer the image, you do not qualify. Else, let x, so if you qualify, then we're taking another step. We say prompt, how much loan do you want? So that's x. Now we print the answer, and then we say congratulations, you qualify for a loan of plus x multiplied by 5. All right, For this to work, we still need to work a little bit in our HTML. First step is that to the button, so that when you click the button is when the action should happen, right? We want to use onClick. So we use onClick function. So there are different functions in, so it means that when you click on the button, so what should happen is that you're invoking the function check, which is what we have here. Remember, our function is check, function check. All right, so we're invoking the function in the button when you click on the button. All right, makes sense. The last thing we're going to do is that we're going to put an action just so that the form doesn't send. Normally when you create a form, you're sending it somewhere else, to another file or to another server, but in this case we're just going to type this there, JavaScript. So we're saying console.log, sorry, that's done, console.log, and then we're saying, so we can print valid JavaScript here actually. Hello there, I have a form has been submitted, right? Form is being submitted. Okay, so we can print valid JavaScript here and then close it, right? So this is going to be it. Sorry, close it. Oops, make a mistake. I'm making a mistake somewhere. Yeah, just here. So this is not going to be here, this is going to be outside. This is statements. 1 second. So after the statement, then we put it here. Yeah, that's it. So JavaScript and then console.log. So we're able to write all of the statement. I'm just trying to make sure that we put all the statement here. That's going to be the form action. So it doesn't send the form anywhere, it stays in JavaScript. Okay, I think that's basically it. So we're going to try it and see if it works. So save this. Make sure you save your loan.js. I hope it works. And then we go to the browser. How much do you earn? Let's say 3,000. Submit. Oh, let's refresh the page just to be sure. Oh, we've not added the JavaScript. All right, we've not linked our JavaScript. So basically, your JavaScript doesn't see the HTML, right? Sorry about that. So in the head section or in the body section, you can write it. I normally like to add it to the body, to the head. So I say script src equals loan.js, and then I just put defer so it doesn't run with it. Script. I think that's about it. It should work now when we try. Okay, so if we say 3,000, you do not qualify for a loan. So basically that's a simple loan application. What if we put more than 3,000? So let's say 5,000. Submit. It says how much loan do you want, because basically you earn 5,000. All right, so I'd say 6,000. And okay, congratulations, you qualify for a loan of 30,000. So it's multiplied by 5, basically. Forgive this, we can work on that later. So let's just try one more time. If you type 3,000, because that's what the code says, you do not qualify for the loan. But if you qualify for the loan first, you earn 4,000. Then you can go ahead and continue. And how much loan do you want? Say I want 11,000. Multiply, you get a loan of 55,000. All right, basically. That's what this does. You can think about how to build your own project using the if statement, if and else statement, and I'll see you in the next lesson.